So after pinning the inner leg seam, we're going to go ahead and sew it. And we're going to sew this with a single stitched and zigzag seam, not the double stitched. This is like we did our side seams. So I need my scrap. I'm going to check to make sure my machine is threaded correctly. And needle up, presser foot up, pull off to the left. And it looks like I'm okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, you don't have to do this. I did this particular thing just so you could see what I was talking about with that angle. But I went ahead and actually with a pencil, just for you to see, I drew a mark 5/8 of an inch from the edge here, and then I put a mark 5/8 of an inch from the edge there. So you could actually see that there is a little angle right there. Again, you don't have to do that. This is just, I wanted you to be able to really see that that's what was going on. So I'm going to put my presser foot down so that the edge of my fabric is right at my blue tape. Get rid of that first pin. And make sure when you're doing this you don't have anything tucked underneath. You're just sewing the front and the back. And we're going to start out and do a little back stitching right at the very beginning. Make sure, start in a little bit and then back stitch all the way to the end, because you want to make sure that those edges are right together whenever you get ready to do your hem. So I'm heading towards this little mark right here. You can also kind of watch there, because we're going to have to pivot when we get to that part right there. And I'm almost there. I want to make sure that, not that the blue tape is even down here yet, but right when I get to that pivot point and it's even with my needle, then I'm going to stop, lift my presser foot up, turn it, so that now this part is next to the blue tape. This part back here is going to lap over, and that's because I had to make that turn. All right, and then I'm going to stitch across there. I'm going to speed this up a little bit just so you don't have to watch me for quite so long. But you remember, you always need to sew at the speed that is comfortable for you. Remember, your notches are just there for marking, so you don't have to do anything special when you sew by them. Just ignore them. And now I'm getting to the middle. And again, this looks like it's straight when we're laying it down here, but there's actually quite a bit of an angle in there. And so I want my upper seam allowance to come back towards me. And the one underneath is going that way, and we want it to stay that way. So I'm going to check before I get to it. I'm just going to scooch my finger underneath there. Again, my foot is off of the presser foot when I do that, or excuse me, off the foot pedal, because I don't want to accidentally move my machine while I'm going along. And I am watching until my needle gets right on top of the seam allowance, or the seam lines rather, and that's where I am right now. I'm going to lift my presser foot up. See how much of an angle I had to turn? It doesn't look like much, but it is quite a bit of a difference. Okay, I have my edge lined up with my blue tape again. And I'm just going to stitch across to the other side. And again, I'm getting close to this angle right here. If you want to draw one on, you're fine, but you don't have to. I just thought that it would be more of a visual for you if I did it. Okay, so again, I'm watching right here. I want to make sure that that's right at the tape before I turn. I'm going to do one more stitch, and then I'm going to press the foot up and I'm going to twist it. And now this edge right here is lined up with the 5/8 of an inch, and underneath you can kind of see where that line is. And I'm going to stitch off to the end, and I'm going to back stitch, needle up, press the foot up. And you really do want to make sure that you are at 5/8 of an inch right here. Don't make it too narrow or too wide. Don't come to here and just shoot off straight, because then you won't have the correct measurement for your hem. This is going to get folded up like this. Okay, and you notice how those angles match? If this were straight here, if this were just straight here and you tried to fold it up, then it would not match up. It would be too short. And then you're going to have some puckering in your hem. All right, so that's what we do for our straight stitching. You should have a slight angle here, one in the middle. Make sure that your little thing on the back did not get flapped over. There's still one going one direction, one going the other. And then you have this last little bit over here. All right, our next step is zigzagging.